Hello, people. Oops, my mic's out of position. Yikes. Okay. So, and welcome back to Sayano, Utah. We are fairly close to finishing because we got the last options. So, the plan is to finish the novel this week, hopefully, within 2 episodes. Try to get the whatever ending we're getting now. I guess the second ending, then the third ending next video. Guess it depends on the length. I might be wrong, and there still could be like a lot of the game left, even though the choices popped up. But yeah, last time we saw Koji investigate Fuminori's house and, find the crazy paint, and also found a fridge full of body parts. Then we got the choice to either call Fuminori or call Tanba. And I just chose the first option because it seems like the worst option, I guess. Like, it doesn't seem smart. I feel like if we called Tanba, we'd have a better chance of winning. But instead, Koji's gonna go by himself, I think. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is the good ending and Tanba would like slow us down or something. Or there's probably not a good ending. Whatever. This is ending 2. Let's just get right into it and see where this ends up. And we are back in Fuminori's point of view. Driving was such a dangerous proposition for me that I hadn't gotten behind the wheel of a car since my accident last summer. I can't see the roads as roads or the cars as cars, after all. Until it became necessary this morning, I'd completely given up on the idea of driving on public roads. I wonder what cars look like. Are they just those, like, weird blobby things in the middle of the streets? Now that I've had 3 months to get used to my condition, however, I can tell what the things I see are, such as which are cars and which are pedestrians. Even though I can't see the red and green of the traffic lights, I can figure out what they mean, and I've learned how to tell when someone's turn signals or brake lights are flashing. I still can't read the street signs, of course. Nevertheless, I managed to make it safely back to our destination with Sai and Yo in the back seat. After we decided to abandon our home, Saya was the one who came up with the idea for our new hideout. When she'd been living in Professor Ogai's house, she discovered an abandoned building on her late-night strolls. Okay, not going to the cottage, which is probably good for both sides, because Tanba's still researching there. Ooh. Spooky house. In these hilly suburban residential areas that are still under development, it's not unusual to find thick, nearly untouched forests just off the beaten path. Saya's old playground is located in one such secluded area, unaffected by the flow of everyday life. It used to be a privately operated sanitarium. Great. Hidden among the silent trees. After the owners went bankrupt, it remained unsold and was eventually forgotten. After I left Sai and Yo at the hideout, I returned to town to make some preparations. Now I'm finally back at our new refuge. I liked this ruin from the moment I first laid eyes on it. Mountains of construction materials and other large trash litter the modest front yard. Other large trash litter the modest front yard, forming a serviceable barricade. This place looks even less likely to receive unwanted attention than our house. Since all humans appear as revolting monsters to me, places they've been tend to stink or seem covered in filthy slime. Empty ruins like these, utterly devoid of traces of human life, are the places I find most restful.
Tadaima.
Great. Train. Great. Good way to start. I call out, letting them know that I'm not a stranger. Then I go down into the basement where they're hiding.
おかえりなさい。車平気だった？
Yeah, we'll let that pass.
もう全然問題ない。一方通行の標識もどういうのか分かったし、スピードさえ出さなければどこを走っても大丈夫だよ。で、そっちは？
一通り調べたけど、やっぱりあれからずっと人が来た様子はないみたい。ここは安全だよ。
そうか。ならいいんだけど。
I'm a little worried that this abandoned building could become a hangout for biker gangs or homeless people.
多分表に積み上げてあるゴミのせい。あれ普通の人間にはちょっと耐えられないんじゃないかな。
It doesn't bother me at all. I rather like it. In fact, well, I suppose that normal people wouldn't.
で、ふみのりの買い物は？いいの見つかった？
ああ、もちろん。
Oof. Look at his face. He's completely crazy. Also, that axe looks really creepy. Its little eyeballs. I proudly unwrapped the weapon I just bought from the cabining goods store, a 1-meter lawn wood chopping axe. I chose the biggest, sturdiest one I could find.
刃渡り15センチ以上のナイフは銃刀法違反だなって張り紙してあるのに、その隣でこんなもの売ってるんだよ。お笑いだよね。
Well, the good thing for Koji is that he has a gun. Well, Fuminori only has an axe, but Fuminori has Saya, so that's probably better than a gun. I don't know, maybe a bullet can kill Saya. We don't know exactly. Still don't actually know what she looks like. I grip the axe with both hands, feeling its dependable weight, and swing it like a baseball bat. With deadly force, the steel blade sweeps through the air right where a person's neck would be. Yo, lying huddled on the floor, flinches in terror at the howl of the axe as it slices the air.
切れ味とかどう？
No,
用で試してみたら？
I don't want to test it on Yo.
いや、それはちょっと。
Yeah, thank you, Fuminori. I definitely wasn't expecting Saya to say anything so brutal.
心配いらないよ。今のような体だったら刃物とかの傷は割と簡単に治っちゃうから。
Please don't.
いや、それにしたって痛いだろ。
そっか。うん、そうだね。
Saya replies as though it had completely slipped her mind. Of course, because she doesn't really care about Yo.
でもさ、痛くされた時のようの声って、それはそれで可愛いよね。
She continues, smiling bashfully at the oblivious Yo.
いや、やっぱり人間に斧で切りかかるってのは気が引けるよ。
Oh my god, he's trying to be convinced to do it.
そうなの？じゃあ、コウジさんは？
そりゃだって。
It should be obvious, but I guess that Saya still doesn't understand.
やつは僕には人間に見えないから、
Okay.
気分が潰そうが平気なもんさ。
Yeah, I forgot. I thought she was gonna say like, but she's not human. But since Fuminori sees him as human, I guess it'd be a lot worse than chopping at a monster.
そんなに違うんだ。
Of course, we know now from Odai's notes that Saya is a genius. She probably wouldn't like take these things into consideration if she was killing. More calculating type, because that's more emotion based.
そうさ。人間には良心があるからね。
Exactly.
どんなに憎い人間だろうと、人を殺すと思うとブレーキがかかるもんだ。そこが僕の賞賛でもある。
Okay.
本当に？
Saya seems awfully subdued. I guess she's concerned about what'll happen when I have it out with Koji.
体格じゃあいつが上だし、普通に喧嘩したんじゃ勝ち目は薄いかもしれないけどね。
He has a gun, but Fuminori doesn't know that.
僕にとっての化け物退治があいつにとっては人殺しなんだ。こいつは大きいよ。あいつはきっと最後の瞬間で隙を見せる。
I can actually see Koji hesitating, sadly, because he's such a nice guy.
なんだか不安なんだよね。そういう心理戦っていうの確実じゃないっていうか。
Saya says softly, staring at the floor with unusual gravity. She raises her head and looks straight at me.
ねえ、やっぱり私が買った方が良くない？
Why don't you both do it? While they're having their face off, you sneak up behind them or something. I appreciate Saya's consideration. Even though it could be interpreted as her having no faith in me, she's still putting my safety above hers. Because she probably can heal fast, like yo. Nevertheless, I can't accept her heartfelt suggestion.
サヤの腕力だとさ、ヨウみたいな女の子なら楽にねじ伏せられるだろうけど、男を相手には厳しいと思うんだ。
Well, she took down the neighbor guy, but he wasn't really buff. He was kind of old. The bitter... Oh, yeah, true. And Sai couldn't stop Suzumi from forced sexual intercourse, which I always thought was weird. So I guess her strength isn't, like, amazingly strong. Okay. But she didn't... But she, like... I swear when she attacked Omi, she, like, ripped her open. Like, that seems pretty strong. I don't know. Let's just continue. The bitter memory of Saya being raped by Suzumi is still fresh in my mind. Saya falls silent for a moment, seeming to understand what I'm thinking, but then comes right back to stubbornly press her case.
でもね、あのおじさんも最初の不意打ちはうまくいったの。大抵の人間はね、作用を見たら力が抜けて動けなくなっちゃうんだよ。病院だってそうだった。平気で話しかけてきたのって文則だけだよ。
True.
まあ、それも一理あるかもな。
I can't imagine it, personally, but I suppose it's possible that Saya's appearance was shocking enough to make someone lose their morale. Suzumi was able to gain the advantage because he had the same condition as me, which let him see Saya as a cute girl. Fear doesn't necessarily make people weaker, however. Depending on the situation, it can even send someone into a berserk rage and make them harder to put down. True. In other words, such tactic would be the same uncertain psychological warfare that Saya is worried about.
じゃあさ、さや、こういうのはどうだろうか。
We both attack. When I tell Saya the new plan that just popped into my head, her gloomy expression instantly becomes a bright smile.
それめえやん。文則って頭いい。
何もそこまで。
It's not a great plan, but I guess the fact that it lessens the risk for me is enough to excite her. She's so easy to please, but that's cute too.
で、いつ頃来るの？浩二さん。
今朝あれから電話があってさ、とりあえず関係ない場所に誘い出してある。少しじらしてやろうと思ってね。
やっぱり暗くなってからがいいよね。
Well, if Koji is going to the cottage, I guess he's getting Ryoko anyways.
ああ、頃合いを見計らってここに誘い出して仕留めよう。ここなら誰にも気づかれないからね。
せっかく人間一人分の肉が仕入れられるのに、ここだと腐らせちゃうね。
他の動物を誘う餌にできないか。野良猫とかカラスをおびき寄せてさ。
Poor Koji.
それ危ないよ。万が一取り逃した時、よそに持っていかれて他人に見つかったら大騒ぎになるよ。
そっか。それもそうだ。
Humans are extremely dangerous, and their filthy, stinking bodies make me sick just by being nearby. Ironically, however, nothing tastes better than their meat. I truly regret having to leave behind everything in our refrigerator.
まあ、この辺だと森にもいろいろと住んでるから、そんなに食事には困らないんじゃないかな。
3人分だよ。 大丈夫かい？
任せて。これでもさや、狩りは得意なんだから。
そうか。じゃあ今日からはさやが一家の大黒柱だな。
へへ。
Saya diddles happily at my praise. I find these childish qualities of hers adorable.
今度はどのぐらいのんびりできるかな。
Because of the casual way she says it, I almost miss the emptiness of which her question leads.
どのぐらいかな。
Saya's right. This won't last forever. No matter how safe this hideout might seem, we will have to abandon it eventually. Just like when I failed to silence Koji, the slightest mistake could put our life together in jeopardy. Some dumb kids might decide that our old ruin is a good place to test their courage, or this land might be targeted for new development. In order to be together with Saya, I have chosen to live differently than other people. We will probably never be able to find peace in this world, teeming with humans, not unless we somehow escape it.
長い旅だと思えばいいさ。
I pull Saya into my arms and fold my hands around her slender shoulders, then
ど
whisper,
うせ人生なんて旅みたいなものなんだ。永遠
Life
に変わ
is
らない
like
場
a
所なんてない。
train. Oof.
時の流れを見送るか、自分自身が流れていくか、それだけの違いだよ。
そうだよね。
Saya smiles softly, perhaps in resignation, perhaps in sadness. Either way, there is peace and contentment in her expression.
それでも一人ぼっちじゃないし。だからさやは寂しくなんかないよ。
あ
I have no regrets. As long as I can hold Saya in my arms, I will gladly pay any price.
それにね、
She adds brightly, as though trying to cheer me up.
いつかは私たちが人目を忍んで暮らさなくてもよくなる日がきっと来るよ。それは約束してあげるから。
That's kind of ominous. It sounds like a fairy tale, but for some reason she seems almost absolutely certain.
それは明日かもしれないし、ずっと先のことかもしれない。
Are other aliens down to invade and enslave the planet or something?
いつ印が来るのか、
Oh my
私には
god.
わからないの。
Oh
初めての
no.
ことだから、
Alien invasion.
ほんのちょっぴり怖いんだけどね。
I have no idea what Saya's prophetic words mean, but this isn't the first time that she said or done something mysterious. She's performed unbelievable miracles any number of times.
僕らにも希望があるのかい？
Saya nods cheerfully.
きっとそれがさやが文則に送ってあげられる最後のプレゼント。
Spooky. Oh, Yoko. Oh wait, no, never mind. Koji has nothing to do but wait in the stale, moldy air. He has spent almost half a day inside the dark, empty study, straining his ears for the slightest hint of movement below. Few people could endure such a vigil, but Koji has accomplished it without the slightest complaint. It's not that it hasn't been hard, rather that he hasn't minded the suffering. Rather than have nothing to do with his razor-sharp nerves, he prefers to sharpen them further through self-abuse. Without a doubt, his single-minded focus is the only thing allowing him to push the limits of his stamina. Koji understands this. He finds it pleasing to inflict pain on himself, now that the man he thought was his best friend has turned his world upside down. Koji wants nothing more than to destroy all of this insanity, including his own betrayed self. The willpower that comes from self-hatred is stronger and longer lasting than any faith or resolve, no matter how noble. Thinking that Fuminori might be using this house as his hideout, Koji snuck inside, hoping to perhaps take Fuminori by surprise. It was only after he got inside that he realized that the house was just as abandoned as it has been before. Even so, Koji was sure Fuminori would arrive earlier than the promised 7 p.m. in order to set up an ambush. However, the sunlight streaming through the windows turned red, then faded to darkness with no sign of anyone coming to the house. Koji found his patience growing weaker and weaker by the moment. And now, it's 7 p.m. Just as Koji's frustration is about to peak, his phone begins to vibrate and flash. It's from Fuminori. He's calling rather than showing up himself. Despite his anger at having been tricked, Koji manages to keep his voice calm as he answers.
どういうつもりだ、文則。
いやね、まさか待ち伏せなんていう無駄なことをして神経すり減らしてないか。お前のことが心配になってさ。
Fuminori says, chuckling scornfully.
遅くなったが、そろそろ本当の待ち合わせ場所を教えておかなくちゃと思ってさ。間に合ったかい？
ふざけた真似を。
まあ怒るなよ。当然の用心だろう。
Fuminori laughs with unstrained malevolence, as though to emphasize that he's seen through Koji's plans.
お前が大貝教授の家まで来てるんなら、そこからほんの少し先。歩いて行ける距離の場所だよ。まずは車に戻ってカーナビを見ろ。ドクロ番長教えてやるから。
今度こそ信用できるっていう保証は。
疑わしければ来なくていい。尻尾を巻いて逃げるがいいさ。
Fuminori hangs up immediately after speaking his challenge. Koji leaps out of his chair and kicks it across the room, unable to find any other outlet for his rage. So I think Koji's angry enough not to hesitate to kill Fuminori, but he's probably not thinking right. I just don't feel like Koji's gonna win without Ryoko. However, he has no choice but to do what Fuminori says. He knows that his exhaustion is at its peak. If he stops now, he'll probably collapse like a marionette with its strings cut. Only through his relentless obsession is he able to push his body beyond its limits. If he allows himself even a moment's rest, he fears that he'll never be able to find the courage or willpower to face this incident. If he truly wants to kill Fuminori, tonight is the only chance. Koji knows, of course, that his enemy is probably planning to ambush him. Fuminori isn't going to be chivalrous and fight fair, not that Koji has any right to complain. Koji leaves the Odai house and heads for his accord, moving like he's half asleep. Why is it so spooky? The showdown. Only the base of the foothills have been developed into a residential area. The address Fuminori gave Koji is outside that area, at the tree-covered top of one of the hills. His car's GPS shows a road that leads nowhere, but according to Fuminori, there should be an old abandoned sanatorium there. It's definitely a place that no one could find, even by accident. Maybe this next stop really will be the last. Koji drives up to the steep incline, soon leaving the houses behind. Even though the hands of progress are right at its doorsteps, the undeveloped forest is darker than he expected. This looks like a great place to live in secret, or to kill someone in secret. These forgotten places aren't only found far away from cities. Even when surrounded by people, places that draw no attention become blind spots in the world. A broken down gatepost suddenly appears in the Accord's headlights, like a ghost rising from the darkness. It looks like this is the final stop. Koji rows up to the gate and turns off the engine, giving himself the silence of the forest. His cell phone starts ringing almost immediately. He doesn't need to check who it's from, of course.
着いたぞ。
聞こえてた。よ。
Whoops. Fuminori is nearby, close enough to hear the sound of the Accord's engine. A shiver of excitement shoots up Koji's spine.
中に入ってこいよ。用も待ってる。
I think we're finally gonna get to see what Saya and Yo looks like, or at least what Yo looks like. I just don't have faith in Toji. This is definitely gonna be an ending where Fuminori wins, and then the next one's probably where Toji wins, if I had to guess. Fuminori hangs up without another word. After grabbing his new made light from the glove compartment and checking that his revolver is still in his pocket, Koji opens the door and gets out of the car. Oh, those are goose. They're geese. Canadian geese. Pleasant. And the music's gone. Mountains of trash litter the modest front yard, forming a serviceable barricade. Koji sees piles of everything from small refrigerators and mopeds to huge chunks of concrete and plaster that were obviously abandoned by the construction workers. The fact that they could get away with leaving all this stuff behind shows just how remote this place is. Oh yeah, you can see the rubble on the sides. Very dark, but I guess it's nighttime. Oop, here we go. Come on, Koji. I'm cheering for Koji. I'm Team Koji, honestly. I like Fuminori and Saya, but I don't love them, or do I want them to win, really? The moon is brighter than usual, allowing Koji to walk unaided through the front yard without tripping on anything. Staying alert, he heads for the building beyond the mountains of trash. Something must be buried underneath the piles of garbage, because the whole yard is filled with the sharp stink of chemicals. Even homeless people probably wouldn't come to this place, much less live here. If you need to get out of the wind and rain, there are plenty of places more suitable than this. How many times has he stood alone like this in some ominous, silent place far removed from his everyday life? It's as though sneaking into deathly quiet houses and finding traces of unimaginable happenings has become as normal as going to class. The houses that he explored before were empty and dilapidated, but the necessary trappings of life were still present. They were like freshly shed cicadas? I think that's how you say it, shells, those loud buds. This place, however, is different. The building is a perfect ruin, its walls and pillars rising from the dark forest like an army of ghosts, with no sign at all that people once lived and worked there. The structure resembles a skeleton more than a cicada. I'm gonna Google that. It's gonna annoy me. Cicada pronunciation. Cicada or cicada. Oh wait, no, that's Italian. Cicala. Wait. This article is terrible. Just tell me how to say it. In the United States, it's cicada. Oh my god. This article is terrible. Okay. US.
Cicada.
Cicada. Good enough. I'm just gonna go with that. Cicada. The structure resembles a skeleton more than a cicada shell. Time and the elements have stripped it of its former shape, and now there's only death. Koji has gone as far as he can. This must be the final stop. What will Fuminori's next move be? There's no question that he's planning to make Koji disappear, but how? Just as he's about to turn on his mid light, Koji reconsiders. If he wanders around with the light on, he'll be broadcasting his exact location. That'll give the advantage to Fuminori, who's most likely laying an ambush for him. That's true, but if he's wandering through the dark, I think Saya will have an advantage. He holds the maid light before him in his left hand with his finger poised on the switch. In his right hand, he raises the revolver, keeping both the gun and the maid light pointed in the same direction so that he can be ready to aim at whatever shows up. When he turns on the light, Koji steps quietly into the dark ruin. Oh my god. Terrifying. It takes only a while for his eyes to adjust, but even then, he only has the moonlight streaming through the empty windows to guide him. Everything appears gray and indistinct. However, Fuminori has to deal with the same conditions if he's hiding here. Not exactly. This is the battle of nerves, exhausting and dangerous, where the first to make a sound and give away his position loses. The rooms on both sides of the hallways are open. Some are even missing their doors. Koji sidles up to each entrance, checks to make sure no one is inside, and carefully proceeds on. The stink that has been assaulting his nostrils since before entering the old building has changed. Now it smells more organic, like rotting meat. It's exactly the same smell that was filling Fuminori's house. Swish. At the sudden noise, Koji freezes and stares down the hall. It was a wet sound, like someone dragging their feet through the swamp, and it came from the room at the end of the hall. Something is there, something that can make noise. Moving silently. Oh, I hope he doesn't shoot like yo. Oh, that would be terrible. And keeping his light and gun at the ready, Koji creeps in the direction of the sound. Now it sounds strange. Or squish, squish, squish. Now it sounds strange. Like someone squeezing mud through their fingers, and as he gets closer, Koji begins to hear some kind of animal's labored breathing. Could it be Fuminori? No, that's impossible. He should be holding his breath somewhere, waiting for a chance to ambush Koji, not carelessly making noise. As he proceeds, the strange sound coming through the cracks in the concrete walls become clearer and clearer. That's Yo. Koji finds himself standing at the entrance to a room. It's filled with a thick, vicious darkness, just like every other room that he's passed. There's more than just darkness, however. Something is definitely there. You can hear pain breathing, like that of a wounded animal, and what sounds like sobbing. Sobbing? Oh, look at his face. Koji whispers into the darkness. Now that he's given away his position by speaking, he might as well just turn on his light. For some reason, however, Koji hesitates to do something so irreversible. Sobbing. The last time I heard her voice on the phone, she was sobbing. The wheezing sound suddenly stops as though whatever it is holding its breath, and then... Or what if it's Saya? Because Yo can't talk, right? Unless she just gained her speech. This should be Saya pretending to be Yo. Wait, is that too much? It might be right, though. I think it is. A whisper comes... Yeah, what if it's Saya pretending to be Yo, and then Fuminori shows up, and then when they're about to fight, Saya, backstabs Koji? I can see that happening. Oh my god. I think that's the plan. And the train. Beautiful. Oh, I'm gonna wait. This is too intense for trains. Go away. A whisper comes out of the darkness. Though not a human voice, not by any measures, it speaks some blasphemous semblance of human words. A nightmare's flash of instinct connects the dots in Koji's mind. It can't be. Tsukuba Yo doesn't sound like that. She doesn't smell like that. Maybe. I still think it's Saya. That's my prediction. If it's not Yo, then how does it know Koji's name? Why is it begging him for help? Even so, it can't be Yo. She's human. She wouldn't be slithering around like whatever slimy creature is hiding in the darkness. The thing wriggles closer to Koji. His reason cries out, imploring him to switch the light in his left hand before it's too late, or to turn and run, if he cannot. However, Koji is unable to accept either choice. He only calls out in vain to the amorous shape in the darkness. The Tsukuba can't talk. I think that's a boy. Something soft and slimy slides over to Koji's toes. Instinct completely overrides his will, forcing him to turn on his light and shine it at his feet. The white beam reveals everything, the merciless truth that finally shatters Koji's sanity. Terror wipes his mind of everything but two words, gun and trigger, looping endlessly through his head. His right index finger responds with absolute obedience. Oh, they're not going to show it. There's an instant of tremendous light and sound, both more intense than he expected, and the destructive forces are swallowed up in the darkness. His ears are still ringing from the bang, but he hears a weak voice coming from the shadows again. Koji screams and desperately pulls the trigger again and again, believing that salvation can only come from his own finger. Light and darkness, silence and explosion. They dance their dance 3 more times. Koji doesn't even need to aim, of course. His terrifying enemy is right at his feet, far too close to miss. Ryoko warned him about how many bullets are left in the revolver, but that information has already been driven from his mind. Even after the cold, heavy gloom wraps itself around him once more, Koji keeps pulling the trigger like a man possessed, paying no attention to the clicking of the empty, worthless revolver. But there goes his advantage in the fight. As though his panic-stricken body has realized how strange it is to be standing on 2 legs, Koji loses his balance and goes down hard on his backside. Still frightened out of his mind, he keeps firing the empty gun from a sitting position. He knows no other way to erase the memory of that thing that he saw for a moment in the beam of his nightlight. The light, however, which fell from his hand during the attack, is now lying on the floor, pointing in a completely different direction. All 4 bullets delivered by Koji's finger must have hit their target, though enough destruction to kill any human 4 times over, and they were his last card to play, which means that he is now sitting alone in this pitch-black darkness with no way to defend himself, and just as he realizes this, a mass of cold, rotting flesh rolls onto him like a tidal wave. Oh. Okay, we kind of get it. It kind of looks like the fleshy monsters. Except a little more composed, I guess. He can no longer even scream as he's... This is such a good image, right? Oh, I missed it. No. He can no longer scream even... He can no longer even scream as he's pushed onto his back. With fear seizing his throat in its iron grip, Koji struggles desperately against the thing as it crawls up his body towards his face. Covering his face with his left hand, he scrabbles wildly along the floor with his right, searching for a way out that doesn't exist. Devoid of everything but primal fear, his mind has regressed to that of a feral animal. And that perhaps is why, when his right hand closes around something hard at the last moment, He's able to instinctively recognize it as a weapon. Putting every ounce of its strength into his arm, Koji swings a heavy object in his hand at the creature on top of him. The wet sound of water cushion being struck with a blunt object, Koji's attacker rolls off of him. As soon as he is able to move freely, Koji leaps to his feet and grabs his new weapon with both hands. As though it's a charm to ward off evil, for the first time, he realizes that he's holding part of a rusty steel pipe. Okay, maybe it's not Saya. It actually seems like he's dying. It's sobbing again. Ooh. It's kind of like when Fuminori was chopping up the Suzumi neighbor guy. Oh god. That actually looks really cool with the red effect. Maybe that's... It doesn't really... Oh, and you can kind of see, like, I think that's part of the body. God damn. With a cry that's part terrified scream, part enraged roar, Koji raises the steel pipe and brings it crashing down on the towering creature. He hears a wet sound and feels blood-chilling sensation on its thick, soft flesh absorbing the blow. These combine to invoke a psychological loathing in him that wipes his mind of all but the urge to destroy. Consumed by the same desperation with which he kept firing the empty gun, Koji rains blow after blow down on his enemy. After the 10th blow, it stops sobbing. After the 20th blow, it stops moving. And after the 30th blow, it begins to feel and sound more and more like he's beating some viscous liquid. Koji doesn't stop thrashing the creature until he realizes, or rather recovers enough of his mind to realize that, whatever it might have been, it's no longer anything but a lifeless corpse. Oh, he actually killed it. The pipe in his hand, covered with unidentifiable fluids and filth, suddenly feels unbearably heavy. The 20 years of memories that he has built up as Tono Koji, if they were precious and dear to him, he should have never come to this place. The black flames of despair rise within him, consuming all other emotions. Unsatisfied, they keep burning until their uncontrollable heat sets his blood to boiling. Koji recognizes that heat as anger. Right now, he is undeniably filled with hate and rage towards the person who poisoned him with the truth and tore his innocence out by the roots. And then Koji, slave to hate, hears the breathing of someone sneaking up behind him. Koji spins around, swinging his steel pipe with all the killing force he can muster. His enemy hastily leaps back to avoid the strike, apparently not having expected his surprise attack to be foiled by Koji's counter. Twisted shadows dance in the light of the made light on the floor. Readying his pipe for the next blow, Koji faces against his second attacker. Koji never imagined that he would say his old friend's name with such hatred. Look at his face, dude. Oh my god, he's such a psycho. Even now, Fuminori is smiling as though the huge axe in his hands is some kind of joke. Nah, you teased him. He's berserk. Like you said, he's gone berserk. Surprised there's no liquid on his pipe. Koji sneers too, unable to contain his contempt for Fuminori's ridiculous notion. Fuminori says in a low voice, looking sadly at the pile of meat that Toji just beat to death.
工事の分際で僕の世をひどい目に遭わせやがって世の10倍は痛めつけてから殺してやる覚悟しろ
Oh shit. So much CGs. What is this song? Sounds like some upbeat battle music. The blade of Fuminori's axe carves a murderous arc through the darkness. This is a little... feels like that's unfitting, but I guess it's a cool showdown final boss song. Littering menacingly in the faint light coming from the floor, Koji raises his pipe to block Fuminori's brute force swing. The shock of the heavy impact shoots through his arms, but his large frame allows him to push the axe back without losing any ground. The axe comes howling down on Koji a second time, and then a third time. Fuminori's weapon, designed for practical purposes, is significantly stronger and easier to use than the piece of pipe that Koji just happened to find on the floor. With his hands full protecting himself from Fuminori's axe, Koji is unable to find an opportunity to counterattack. Each strike he blocked sends chunks of rust flying from his pipe.
Come on!
Koji blocks a crushing downward swing, then pushes back before Fuminori can pull his axe away, throwing him off balance. Stumbling backwards, Fuminori plants his feet to regain his balance. Fuck. Fucking trains. Taking advantage of his opponent's temporary immobility, Koji delivers a punishing low kick to Fuminori's outer thigh. Intense battle. Fuminori grunts and retreats, swinging his axe wildly to prevent Koji from following up with another attack. Koji, however, does not press this advantage. He just stands where he is, calmly spearing Fuminori with his stare. Koji's a brawler. Fuminori roars and comes up in another attack, but the damage to his right leg seems to be slowing his swing. Easily blocking the axe with his pipe, Koji waits for Fuminori to exhaust himself. Howling crazy, Fuminori delivers blow. Oh my god. Delivers blow after blow. However, the battle has already become one where composure, not brute force, decides the victor. Are you shitting me? Another fucking turn. When Fuminori raises his axe high for yet another attack, Koji sees his movements have grown dull enough. Seizing the opportunity, Koji charges into Fuminori's range and grabs the haft of the axe with his left hand. As Fuminori recoils in fear, Koji brings his pipe crashing into his enemy's unprotected side. He feels the crunch of his ribs breaking. The pain drives Fuminori to his knees. Staring down at Fuminori's defenseless head, Koji, surprised by his own lack of emotions, raises his pipe high to deliver the finishing blow. Yep, here comes Saya. Which is when something wraps itself around his left ankle. The instant Koji panics at the unexpected sensation, something soft yet strong winds itself around his right leg, drags him to the floor before he can resist. He twists his body and tries to swing the steel pipe at the unseen enemy behind him, but his right hand, too, is seized by the same flexible force. He wasn't able to feel it through his pants, but now his blood turns to ice at the cold, slimy sensation of the thing wrapping around his uncovered wrist. The monster is still. Fuminori says encouragingly, even while kneeling on the floor, his face twisted with pain, he manages a terrible, victorious grin. Saya. This thing is... Koji struggles desperately, trying to free his limbs from the creature's horrifying grip. but more and more tentacles swarm over his body like snakes, stealing his freedom of movement. The horror has already driven Koji half mad. Just imagining the appearance of the creature attacking him is enough to threaten his sanity. His scream is suddenly cut off as a slimy appendage seizes his throat. This most deadly tentacle isn't just cutting off his breath and circulation, it's trying to snap his neck, and it's squeezing tighter and tighter. Koji, you were too young. Aww. Well, I kind of expected that to happen. It was 2v1. Unfair. My mind hazy from the pain as I watched Saya feast upon her slain prey. We've won. It was hard, and I wasn't able to do it alone, but for the first time we worked together to defeat our enemy. The price was steep, of course. At least 2 of my ribs are definitely broken, sending a sharp pain shooting through my chest every time I breathe. And then there's Yo. I didn't expect her to fall to Koji so easily. Unlike Saya, she might have been unfamiliar with how to use her new body in combat. My injury must have fueled Saya's anger. Her slaughter of Koji was merciless and complete. As soon as her prey stopped moving, she sank her teeth into his vital organs and ruthlessly extinguished the last embers of life. Through her brutal, grisly actions were unbecoming of her delicate fingers. Saya's face, covered with blood and gore, was like that of a victorious queen of beasts, lording over her defeated foe. There was something noble and sacred about her primal ferocity that made me reluctant to disturb her. I don't know how long I've been watching over Saya's feasting. I've nearly fainted from the pain several times, to be honest. I'm not used to violence. The wounds I suffered in the car accidents were worse, of course, but these broken ribs are the most severe injury that's ever been deliberately inflicted upon me. Anyway, you'd think that Saya could show a little more concern for my condition. Koji is already as dead as he can be, so there's no reason for her to be in such a hurry. I suddenly realized that Saya has stopped eating. Now she's lying on her back, rolling side to side. Has she eaten too much? It's been several days since we've had fresh unfrozen meat, so I understand why she would get greedy, but still, I'm wounded here. She could give me a hand. Because I'm preoccupied with my own selfish wants, I'm slow to realize that something is wrong. Saya isn't just lying down, she's trembling in agony. What? What if Koji, with his 200 IQ, poisoned himself? With some slow-acting poison. Oh my god. Wait, that'd be sick. That'd be cool. I don't know if he did. I like Koji, but I don't think he's that smart. My blood goes cold, and the pain from my broken ribs is suddenly forgotten. Does he even know that Saya eats people? That could be a thing if Ryoko was here.
Saya!
Saya, no! I jump up, run to her side, and cradle her falling body in my arms. Her face is pale and drenched in sweat, and her half-closed eyelids and lips are shivering. It's like she has a fever. What's going on? I have no idea. Could she have sustained a serious wound in the fight without my noticing? Could the meat she just ate have been poisoned somehow? That'd be hilarious. I don't know. I don't understand. All I know is that fear is quickly overwhelming me.
Saya!
Her eyes are glowing. I don't know what that means though. The only thing I can do is keep calling her name with all my strength. Saya slowly opens her eyes and gazes vacantly at my terrified face.
Minori, ごめん。大丈夫。大丈夫だよ。ただちょっと痛いだけ。
何なんだどうしたんだサヤしっかりしろ
There's no way that she's fine. It's glaringly obvious that her condition is dire. Even so, I'm the only one who's panicking. Saya's expression is serene, as though she understands everything. She even smiles softly, as though trying to comfort me.
びっくりしちゃった。まさか本当に
Invasion?
時が
Invasion? Oh god. That'd be kind of hilarious. Maybe she's like sending out a signal. Or now that the aliens are coming closer, her body's like, I don't know, bringing them here? I don't know. I might lose Saya. The worst possible outcome, one I don't even want to imagine. I feel overwhelmed by anxiety and despair, as though I've returned to being a helpless infant.
怖がらないで。だよね。これが印。
Music's so loud, but I'm alright.
みのりと私のたった一つの希望。
It's actually an invasion, isn't it?
どういうことだよ。
Ripper.
わけわかんないよ、さや。しっかりしてくれよ。
Saya answers my tearful entreaty with a smile like that of a mother comforting her child.
さやはね、頑張るって決めたの。だって、みのりはさやのこと
Okay, I'm actually starting to get sad. I don't really like Fuminori or Saya that much, but it still makes me sad.
綺麗だって。そう言って
Aww.
くれたから。
やめようよ、さや。
This was supposed to be the Saya and Fuminori ending, where they won. Now she's dead for reasons. I don't know what's happening. Whatever it is, though, I can't just sit back and watch it as it causes Saya such excruciating pain.
もういい。無茶しないでくれ。何をするつもりか知らないが、さやが苦しむ姿なんて見たくない。
ひどいな。みのり、分かってよ。
Saya says with an exasperated smile. In a soft voice, she reveals her secret. Alright, hit me with it.
晴れるんだよ。
Oh,
さやとみのりの子供たちが。
oh, she's having babies. Okay, that's better than alien invasion. That makes a lot more sense. Oh my god. I'm pretty sure I even talked about her getting pregnant and what that means, like a couple episodes ago. For a while, my mind goes completely blank.
そんな。いつの間に。
私もね、びっくり。ねえ、ふみのり。
Saya's labored breathing speaks to how much pain her tiny body is suffering. Even so, she wraps her arms tightly around my neck.
外に連れてって。広いところ。空の下に。
I nod. What else can I do? If I speak, I'm afraid that I'll be unable to hold back my tears. I mustn't cry, now when Saya is facing her torment so bravely. It feels like Saya is burning up in my arms, and I fear that terrible convulsions that shoot through her at intervals would tear her frail body to pieces. Praying for her safety, I scoop up Saya and carry her swiftly out of the ruined building. Maybe the cold night air will soothe her fever even a little, but that hope is futile. Cruelly dashed as her breathing becomes more shallow as she moans through bluish lips.
さや。そうだよ。
In response to my call, she opens her eyes once more. Her gaze is cloudy and unfocused. It's clear that she can no longer see. Nevertheless, Saya looks at me, and I can tell that she's imagining my expression where my face should be.
約束した。これ
Aww.
が最後の。
This is so sad, even as a Team Toji. God damn. I know.
喜んでくれる。
Oh, fucking trains! Jesus Christ. Stop ruining this.
嬉しいよ。もちろん。
Well, at least he'll have a child or two or multiple. I don't know. How much children is she having? It takes every ounce of my willpower, but I manage to make my voice light and cheerful. In Saya's mind's eye, I know that I'm smiling. She won't have to see my face streaked with tears.
私を愛してくれたあなたにこの星をあげます。
What? Saya's whisper is weak in pain, but there's an ecstasy in her voice. Ecstasy and joy. Her back suddenly shifts, then bulges outward.
世界はきっと綺麗な場所に
What is she giving birth to if it's gonna change the world?
さやと文よりのためだけの
Oh, the winds. Oh wait, no, it's like her turning into a flower. Or it kind of looks like wings. Aww. Saya, you're destroying the world, which makes me sad. But it's also sad that you're dying. God damn. Flower petals, long and wide, they spread from her back like wings of a newly formed butterfly. They're brilliant. Wait, I need to appreciate this more. It looks kind of creepy when you look at the flesh, like, actually turning into it. But yeah, it's pretty beautiful. Their brilliant glow comes from the countless tiny scales that cover each petal like particles of light.
さよならなのか。
I asked her, careful to keep the sorrow out of my voice.
違う。これは始まり。
Saya's pain must have already left her, for her expression is infinitely peaceful and content.
私と文のりの
Whoa. Oh, she's sending out like little particles? And is that gonna like infect a bunch of people on Earth? I think that's what it is. Oh my god. The radiant motes rise of the wind, covering the frozen winter sky with glittering rivers of light. It is beautiful, overwhelmingly, painfully beautiful. It is a song that heralds the coming of the new world and the destruction of the old. There we go, the Song of Saya. Singing victoriously of their freedom, the shining seeds of life are released into the vast and fertile lands. It is a boundless healing, an eternal blessing. We shall fill the world with our joy.
これからはずっと一緒だね。
Embracing Saya's pitifully shrunken body, I gaze into the shining sky and let my tears flow freely. Thank you. Thank you for this last gift, Saya. The end. Where are we gonna see the world in chaos? She was worried at first about how long the preserved foods in the underground storeroom would last her, but now it seems that her fears were unfounded. This is Ryoko. Post-apocalypse, I guess. It's the liquor that she should have worried about. By savoring each drop of spiritus as though it were her last, she thought her flask would hold out a little longer, but she must have been consuming more each day than she realized. Who can blame her? In retrospect, there's no way that she could have gotten through this without the intoxicating effect of distilled alcohol. After Ryoko chased useless emotions like hope and despair from her mind, she found herself spending the most peaceful days of her life. As resignation set in, hate and fear left her. Now she feels only awe for what Ogai Masahito did and respect for the depth of his intellectual curiosity. After all, neither she nor the world have any reason left to deny his research. Alone in the mountain cabin, Ryoto killed time by bringing order to the documents that Odai had left behind. She took the scattered, enciphered papers and rewrote them in a more readable fashion, eliminating the redundancies and improving their ability to be indexed. Ryoto didn't intend for anyone to read them, of course. She knew full well how meaningless her actions were. With her reason to live gone, however, having something to devote her mind to was at least some relief. And now, with the last congratulatory come on, Aiden. Congratulatory. I can't read. Everyone knows what that word means, though. Drops of spiritus vodka burning their way down Ryoto's throat. All of Odai's research lies before her in a single volume. She has finally finished transcribing and annotating the last of his writings. Enjoying the pointless satisfaction of a job well done, she idly pages through the manuscript as she completed. I shall conclude by summarizing my theory as it currently stands. The life form that I named Saya did not appear in our universe by chance, nor even as a result of my summoning, but because of the instincts that were programmed directly into her biology. Yeah, that's what I thought. I called that she had I don't know when I called it, but I said she had a secondary moment since she was so keen on eating the semen and stuff. Or, no, I didn't call that she would give birth to the apocalypse, but I called that she was there's definitely something about her that was programmed, I think. I think that was during I don't know when it was. Okay, I'm like 70% sure I called something like this, though. She was created to fulfill the same ultimate purpose that all life shares: reproduction. Saya and her kind procreate by spreading their seeds to other dimensions. Oh my god, what is the probability that they will discover a doorway to another world? Even if they succeed in doing so, the chance that the world being suitable for reproduction must be even more minute. Minute. Is that how you really spell it? It's the same as minute. In order to make the most of their scant probability, evolution has granted them a certain ability, none other than the astonishing ability that I have witnessed in Saya. To wit, they select the most prosperous species that they encounter, take control of it, and in doing so, gain dominance over the planet's biosphere. In other words, they hijack the entire species. Upon finding the species that exert most control over the planet, they overwrite its genetic code and remake it in their own image. Saya's body is more than capable of this. There's a significant probability that the target species will have evolved into intelligent life. This element may be necessary to gain control of the planet's environment. Therefore, Saya and her sisters also plunder their target's culture and psychology. Her extraordinary learning ability and intellectual curiosity are likely instinctive tools that enable her to inherit the target species' entire wealth of knowledge. In fact, it may be that Saya's kind has always had their sights set on intelligent life. Perhaps they wait patiently for some foolish extra-dimensional species to gain knowledge of other worlds, and, in attempting to fulfill its curiosity, make contact with the other universe in which they dwell, rather than send Saya and her comrades on their dimensional journeys with only luck and their own strength to depend on. Would not waiting for such contact greatly increase the chance of finding a world worthy of conquest? Just as I have acquired the Silver Key, fancying myself an explorer of the unknown, how many intelligent life forms on other worlds have thoughtlessly congratulated themselves for discovering Saya's sisters? Yeah. So, I pressed something. God damn it. I was trying to talk. So it comes in question, how much did Saya actually love Fuminori? And how much was this just programmed into her to take over the world? you know, as an optimist, I'd like to say that she actually really did love Fuminori, and that kind of she probably connected with Fuminori because she wanted to get pregnant, but eventually she probably loved him a bit, but in the end she still wanted to get pregnant. I don't know, it's weird. I have to think about it more, probably after this. Taken by the sudden urge to go outside for a change, Ryoko gathers up the manuscript that she was reading and heads to her car, which is parked in the front yard. She drives a little further up the mountain to an open place that offers a scenic view of the land below. There we go. In the earlier days of the change, Ryoko often came to this spot to helplessly watch over the mutating city. The one flaw in my theory comes from none other than Saya herself. After using me to learn everything about humanity, Saya should have finally been prepared to begin the last stage of her invasion. However, she never carried out her mission. Why? I hypothesized that Saya was an irregular, even among her own kind. Okay. It is said that the human's race intelligence has allowed it to conquer its instincts. Perhaps Saya accidentally inherited the disease that infects our entire species. Ooh, that's a good hypothesis. That could totally be true. By absorbing the human psyche, she might have allowed the many schools of thought that conflict with our natural instincts to severely damage her reproductive urges. What is human love really? What behavior could be more of a hindrance to the efficient propagation of a species? I am reminded of how, at the end of her studies, Saya consumed vast quantities of old and new romantic literature from all over the world. She tried to understand romance as an integral part of the human reproductive process. As a result, she might have unwittingly neutered her own unparalleled reproductive abilities. After all, she had not known love. That's from when Saya sneaked into Fuminori's house. She had come to this world to rule it in humanity's place, and had studied our species in order to fulfill that purpose. But ultimately, she could not share love with a human. Without love's blessing, Saya was unable to find the enthusiasm necessary to fill this world with her kind. After learning everything there was to know about humanity, she herself became irreversibly human. Weary of loneliness, she despaired of the world. How pure her maiden soul must have been. If this hypothesis is correct, then it means that I have failed as her teacher. I cannot help but to feel ashamed for having spoiled such an extraordinary organism. Saya. Next to Odai Masahiko, Ryoko now knows more about that entity than anyone else. No. When the young man named Satisaka Fuminori is added to the running, perhaps she only comes in third. In the end, she never encountered the creature face to face. She would have liked to meet it once, though. If Odai's analysis of Saya's psychology is correct, then it must have been Satisaka who restored her desire to conquer the world. Perhaps as Satisaka's chief physician, Ryoko played some role in bringing that lonely young man and Saya together, in which case she should at least have the right to attend their wedding to end all weddings. If Ryoko were a man, she might have even charged them a matchmaker's fee. Oh shit. The world's actually turning into gross meat stuff. I have a dream that one day my daughter will know the blessing of love. I pray that there will come a day when her heart burns with the flames of passion, and her world becomes bright and joyous once more. When that day comes, Saya, your terrible, irresistible purpose will surely consume us, that your progeny might flourish, and the whole world will know your love and be reborn. Ah, how glorious the future is. I deeply regret that I must end my life before I can see that day come, but the footsteps of those who would expose my dreams are getting closer by the hour. If I seal my lips in death, their vengeful hands will not reach you. Please forgive me, Saya, for leaving you alone in this barren world. With the knowledge that you now possess, I know that you will be able to find your own path. The radiance of your hard-won soul shall light the road ahead. Have no fear, have no doubt, march onward, until you reach your answer at last. And I, Saya, will dream forever of the future that you will bring. Perhaps it's the isolated environment or the mountain air. Maybe she's just more resistant to the change. Whatever the case, Ryuko has not yet become as inhuman as the creatures riddling through the city below. She doesn't know exactly how many people on this planet could still be called human, but she's one of what must be a handful of survivors who are left to watch over the end of human civilization. Of course, it's only a matter of time before she changes too. It has been 3 days since she chopped off her right hand, which ceased to function as anything resembling a human hand, but the itching that has spread across her entire back is growing more intolerable by the hour. She could look into a mirror to see what she is becoming, but she doubts that would make her happy. Ryuko thinks that maybe it would be best just to sleep here, with the world spreading out before her. When she awakens, perhaps she'll be ready to descend the mountain and join the city's revelries. Maybe she won't even need such resolve anymore. Whatever the case, Ryuko thinks dreamily as she licks the very last drop of vodka from her flask. After I stop being human, I hope I'll still be able to enjoy the taste of booze. Boom. Second ending. Okay, that was interesting. Very dramatic. I enjoyed it. I think it's a pretty good way to resolve the story. I think the Saya-Fuminori relationship is very complex and very beautiful. It was definitely kind of heart-wrenching to see Saya die. Again, maybe I don't I don't really connect to them as much, so I can't say I personally enjoyed the ending. Like I don't like how the world got pretty much, well, not destroyed, but it, I guess, destroyed and reborn as a slimy world. But I'm sure people who really loved Fuminori and Saya over how I preferred Koji and the rest of humanity would definitely like that ending a lot more. Especially if you like Saya, right? Because this is a happy ending for her. Now her and Fuminori are, well, she finally found love, which I guess led to the end of the world, which is bad. But, you know, being like alone in a planet where I guess everybody would think you're repulsive and stuff, and you can't find love would definitely be hard. And same with Fuminori, I guess, with his weird condition. This is also breaks my theory that I had a while ago that Odai was actually responsible for Fuminori's condition. I guess it's not. I guess it was just a problem with the brain surgery. But yeah, that was a good ending. I do plan on making a video after I finish the third ending, kind of a review / discussion on my final thoughts. So I'll go more in depth once I get my thoughts organized. But I liked it. It definitely felt more of an ending than the first ending, even though I didn't think it was as happy, because the world's, at least humans, are literally destroyed, which, you know, as a human, I don't exactly like that. But it was definitely a good ending. It answered a lot of questions. I really enjoyed Ogai's notes at the end about the hypothesis that probably sounds right spot on, unless I was just lying about everything, which I doubt. It's definitely true that humans needs come over their instincts almost, and that probably affected Saya to need to find love before she can actually reproduce. and stuff. Also, before that, the battle with, since the ending was so powerful, I was kind of forgetting the whole showdown with Koji and Fuminori. But that was really, really cool. I kind of called that Koji would lose, especially since it was 2-on-1. But if Ryoko was there with her double-barreled shotgun, then they can definitely... I think they will win. I think that made sense, because like, what kind of ending would happen after that really grand ending? Would have to be the humans winning, right? And it also shows that at least Saya's kind can be killed, since after taking a bunch of damage, Yo finally died. But yeah, thank you for watching. That was an hour and 20 minutes. But it was good. Long episode. You can tell my voice was kind of giving out at the end. So next week's episode, I'll probably read all of it too. And then on Friday, I'll give the final thoughts. Or on the weekend. I might need some time to again think about it and make the video. But yeah, thank you for watching. That was fun. I really enjoyed the episode. I do, like, I like the ending as a piece of literature, but my personal feelings, I wanted the humans to win. But I'm sure we'll get an ending like that next time. Hopefully, unless we're just screwed for all eternity. But yeah, good job, Saya and Fuminori. Good job on your ending. And thank you guys for watching. And I'll see you next time, hopefully, if you're interested. See ya, bye.